Hi, in this video I want to show you how to play against Slav Defense as white without memorizing a ton of theory. Straight after this video you would be able to beat Slav Defense as white. Believe me, you will like this idea. My name is PavelChess and welcome you to my YouTube channel, and let's learn together. Let's go. After d4, d5, c4, c6, we have a Slav defense. And here I propose you to play exchange variation c takes d5. You can't imagine how it's annoying for the Slav defense lovers. I'm playing Slav defense as black, I know this. C takes d5. And here we need to care about the move orders. For example, if we go knight c3, black have an option to play e5, an interesting gambit line. So I really want to shortcut for you all the lines, and that's why bishop goes e4, preventing this. And then on knight c6, the move with the best accuracy is e3, because again we're preventing the e5 stuff. Because on knight c3, black can still think about the e5 gambit approach. Anyway, better to start with e3, but after this we are drafting to the main position of this line. And here black has options. e6, what is we are really expecting here from black and we really want. It's maybe the low line here. a6, the most modern line, which is the most popular nowadays, and then bishop f5 and bishop g4. So basically black debates between the four lines, and let's go carefully from line to line to find an advantage for white. Let's start with the old move e6 to understand how to better play here. In this position, we need to start with bishop goes to d3. It's very normal in these lines to keep the knight on g1 until the moment. You will very soon see why it's important. Because in this position after bishop d6, what I faced personally 100 times in the blitz games, I believe. So we can play bishop takes d6, queen takes d6, and f4 move. Very important now, because we will build up a Pillsbury ring. We will put our knight to e5 and start an attack. That's a very typical idea. So the game could go like castle, knight f3, b6, black wants to improve their bishop from c8. And now I want to show you the example line to see how we will go with our attack. Like rook c1, rook on c1 is always placed good in these positions because we are controlling the open line. Rook c8, knight goes to e5. And now our idea is very easy. Basically, it's more or less doesn't matter what are the black moves. We will play rook f3, rook h3 and try to make a checkmate. Example line could be like that. a6, rook f3, b5. Let's imagine black decided to extend space on the queen side. Rook h3, g6 now, because we were really threatening some ideas even with bishop takes h7 and queen goes h5, launching an attack. And we have a g4, a typical line. Knight e5, g5, knight e4 to block the bishop, and after queen g4, this position is assessed by the computer as the, like +3 for white. We are really inside the attack. All the squares are weak for black, so it's nothing good. Believe me, I won a lot of games like this as white. So that's why this bishop d6 on the move 7 is not so good for black. It's not the best approach. Maybe the contest bishop goes to e7, the other line. Now we can play h3. Why it's important? Because on knight f3 immediately, black has then ideas with the knight h5. And we can't save our bishop. It's no g5 or e5 move or g3. We would be captured everywhere. So that's why I want to care about him like white's doing in London system. h3, castle, knight f3. Now all the time on knight h5 we have bishop h2 move. So it's no sense for black to play like this. a6 black can do, very typical. Castle, b5. Black really needs to do something with the bishop from c8. He really blocked with the structure. That's why a6, b5, bishop b7 looks very typical for them. But it has some obvious minuses. That, for example, after rook c1, bishop goes b7, I can play a4, trying to hook the structure with the idea on b4 to play knight b1. A very typical approach in this type of structures. The position is quite closed and we have time to transpose our pieces. The idea is that we forced some weaknesses in black structure, and c5 could be a nice destination for our knight. I really want to go like this and have some plus. For example, after queen b6, knight d2, rook c8, I can calmly play queen e2, following with the ideas like this. I also keep my eye to this spot. I basically even have the idea to play something like this, because black pieces are a bit on the queen side, so we can launch something on the king side. And yes, for sure, we have small advantage as white. In my vision, it's a very comfortable position for white to play. I really strongly recommend you to play this. That was about the move bishop e7. And in this line, I basically showed in the line e6 typical ideas for white. So again, we need to push our bishop to d3, wait until the development of this bishop, and then just continue our development. Remember that even if you will forget the theory as well, you can move logically, like knight f3, castle, rook c1, and so on, and still you can gain some small opening advantage. That's, I mean, very important, and you don't need to memorize nothing. So if we speak about the bishop g4 or bishop f5, basically we will transpose to the similar position. Doesn't matter it's bishop f5 or bishop g4, I would play queen b3 here, attacking the pawn on b7 immediately, using the point that bishop is not on c8 anymore. What to do now is black. They can play queen b6, but all types of these endgames after takes bishop b5 should be slightly better for white. After e6, white have two ideas of development: to put the knight on f3 or to put the knight on e2. On e2 is also tricky because then we can play f3, g4, extending space on the king side. Let's go like with knight e2, for example. The line could be like this: bishop e7, f3. Black really needs to play h5, preventing g4. Other way, we can play g4, then h4. Bishop would be on g6 under the troubles because all the time we want to kick him, and also we would be able to play g5, taking some more space advantage. So I believe h5 is the best for black. King f2, castle, and here black really wants to play something like this, transposing the knight to the good square, attacking the bishop, aiming on c4. That's why bishop g5 have the logic in this position. Our idea that after knight e8 now, we can take, and even take on e8, take and play h4. Small advantage again. The bishop on e5 is not so good. The position is quite closed, and the knights, both knights, are pretty good here. So we really want to play rook c1 and continue this position. I mean, that looks interesting for white. The other move is to play just, for example, rook goes to c1. A good one alternative here, right? After bishop b5, e6 to play rook c1. Bishop e7, knight goes to f3. Maybe it's even stronger. The idea that after like castle, which looks very logical for black, we can play knight h4. Now we want to take a pair of bishops. And if black will continue like we don't care what's going on, you can draft them to the problems very quick. Takes, king e2. Definitely better because of the pair of bishops and a playable endgame. So returning back to this position, I mean the black decided to double the pawns. It can't be so good, and you can count on some advantage, and now you know two ways how to play this. For sure you need to practically check this out, maybe analyze a bit more, but I showed you the ways you have. So instead of queen b6, knight a5 is the main move. Queen goes a4 check, that's our idea. Now returning on c6 gives nothing for black, so they need to play bishop d7 and queen c2. And now we controlling the f5 square. So the bishop is not coming out from the chain. The knight on a5 looks not that good. So the line could be like e6, bishop d3, rook c8, knight f3. We can basically afford this tension between the rook and the queen. And the line could be like this, bishop e7, because it's no bishop d6 here, right? The bishop is on d7. Castle, knight e5, using immediately that the knight is not on c6. If black wants to keep the pair of bishops, bishop e8, just like rook a c1, and again slightly better for white. We have typical plans to play on the queen side or king side, maybe something like this in the future, maybe to think about something like this, right? So again, space advantage is on our side, our pieces are better, comfortable position. Basically, it was about the sixth move at bishop f5. As I told before, on the bishop g4, we will do the same. Queen b3, knight a5, queen a4, bishop d7, queen c2, going to the similar line. And now we have to speak about the best probably black approach a6 in this position. So what is the idea? The idea is that black's trying to make a useful move, preventing some stuff like knight b5, knight c7 in the future. It's not blocking the bishop. So after bishop d3, black wants to play bishop g4. Now queen b3 is not worked so perfectly because after knight e5, queen a4, black has the b5, the side idea of the move a6 again. That's why we better play knight e2. So we are trying to save the flexibility of the knight. And maybe we will kick out the bishop from g4 with h3 or f3 in the future. The example line could be like this: e6, castle, bishop e7, rook c1, castle, knight a4. Another typical idea for white. We want to expose the c5 square. We can keep our eye on b6 somewhere because a6 made this weak. And like we can basically include h3 at some moment. So for example, knight goes to d7, trying to prevent knight c5, a3. I want to play b4 and knight c5. The line could be like rook c8, h3. It's good to make a window in my vision to our king, gaining a tempo on the bishop, b4. And like after b5, I want to play knight c5. Again, white has some small advantage, and it would be tough for your opponent when he faces this to outsmart you and find the best way how to play here. I strongly believe in this. I really recommend you to play this line because it requires no theory basically. You can just remember typical ideas and you can play this easily and you will annoy your opponents. I hope that this video was useful to you. Don't forget to hit subscribe, press like, and we will see each other on my new episodes.